And I've kind of compensated by hitting the end of the week and saying, oh, I haven't worked on this enough. I'm going to work on it another week. So I've decided to change the way that I work a little bit. Hey Floss Tube, welcome back. This is my 122nd Floss Tube video, and I'm excited to share with you what I have been working on. But first of all, I want to welcome you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the things that I have to share with you. And if you are returning, thank you for coming back and watching my videos. I really appreciate it. It is just after Christmas, and we are getting ready to go to Utah to take my daughter back to school. So things are a little bit hectic right now. But I thought I'd record this video and then edit it in the next couple of days, probably while I'm in Utah. Things are going well. Of course, since I last talked to you, we had Thanksgiving and Christmas. We had a wonderful Thanksgiving in Utah with family and had a really good time. And then Christmas was also very delightful. We had our whole family here, and we just basically hung out and enjoyed everybody's company. We had a really nice day, and it was really special. So we are in the process of taking Christmas down before we go to Utah. So that's kind of why things are a little bit hectic. At any rate, I hope that you've had a great Christmas if you celebrate. And that all is going well with you. And I hope that this new year that is coming will be a good year for you. Basically what I want to do, this is my year in review video for 2023. And I basically want to talk about all of everything that I have worked on in 2023. And we'll talk a little bit about that later. But first of all, I just want to continue talking about the books I've read. I don't remember in my last video whether or not I had finished one of the books that I finished in November. Well, let's do this. We'll talk about November. In November, I finished 2 books and read 1,021 pages. December, I don't think I'm going to have quite the number of pages, so I'm still keeping my journal. My wife got me a bunch of books for Christmas that I'm going to be so I have more reading material to get through that I can record in here. And as I said, I don't remember if I had finished one of the books that I finished in November. So I'm going to talk about both of the books that I finished in November. The first one is, of course, Anna Karenina. I finished this on the 16th of November, and I really enjoyed this book. I was really impressed. Well, it's like I didn't really understand why Tolstoy was telling this story until I got to the end and read the last section. But it was really good. It's interesting to me. It seems to me that you have 2 main stories, and you can kind of compare and contrast the 2. You have Levin and his courtship and marriage with Kitty, and of course Anna and the destruction of her marriage. And the two you can compare and contrast those 2 situations, and at the end of the last section, it kind of brings everything together. Anna basically acts out of selfishness, and her selfishness is what basically brings about her downfall. Levin, on the other hand, is he starts out kind of selfish, but he is interested in other people, in making the life of the peasants that work on his farm better, and truly doing that, not just superficially doing stuff like building schools or hospitals. He's truly interested in making their lives better. And of course, his marriage to Kitty is done out of true love, out of love, not necessarily out of selfishness. Anna and Vronsky end up fighting because of having conflicts. They're unable to work through those conflicts, partly because of the situation that created their relationship. Whereas Levin and Kitty, they have a marriage, they have jealousy as well, but they're able to work through that and become closer in spite of the normal hiccups of everyday life. And it's just really interesting to me how Tolstoy is really comparing those two situations and kind of indicating, I think, which way will bring you the best. Let's see, I should say what he thinks would be the best way to live in order to achieve happiness. So anyway, great book. It's a long read, but I really enjoyed it. The other book that I finished was Dorothy Dunnett, The Disorderly Nights. This is the third book in the Lyman Chronicles. And I think when I talked about this before, I just barely started it, and I didn't really know where it was going. This is about basically the Knights Hospitallers and their conflict with the Ottoman Emperor. Kind of like there's a big conflict between France and Charles, the Holy Roman Emperor, and it all kind of plays out with the Knights Hospitallers, with the siege of Malta, and then later of Tripoli, and then also the scene also goes back to Scotland. And it turns out that there's a real villain who's kind of lurking behind the scenes that Lyman knows about, and has to very carefully work to eventually uncover him, to bring his misdeeds to the public. So it's a really interesting read, and it's been I really enjoyed this book. The ending was quite riveting. I got to the last 100 pages and just like zoomed through it. Okay, so that leaves that. What I am reading now, I'm reading just one book, and that book is Pawn and Frankincense, which is the fourth book in the Lyman Chronicles. This is kind of a sort of I guess a sequel to the events that happened in the Disorderly Nights. Lyman is been named an ambassador to the Ottoman Emperor and is taking a gift from the King of France to as an inducement for an alliance with the Ottoman Emperor. And he is also searching for his child that he has found out that he has had. And so it's kind of his journeys across the Mediterranean in search of his child. It's been really good. I'm just over halfway through, let's see, about 300 pages in, and it's just under 500 pages. So I'm getting towards the end. Lyman is starting to wear on me a little bit. I think part of the problem is I've just been reading this one book, and I think I need to pick up another book so that I can ping pong back and forth when when one book starts to wear on me a little bit, I can read another. So my page count in December is not going to be as high as it was in November, and I'm not going to finish as many books as I did in November. Like the last week, Christmas hit, and my reading has just kind of dropped to nothing. So there's that. Let's talk about my year, and I'll show you a couple of graphs to kind of summarize what I've been doing. So I have worked on 12 or 13 projects. You can see this graph that shows you the projects that I have been working on and the amount of time that I have been working on them. I have 2 finishes to show you. And I also have a disaster that I want to share with you again, mostly because I want to talk about it a little bit. And then I also have, in the middle of the year, I pared down my rotation. And so I have projects that I am actively working on, and I have 5 projects that are waiting in the wings for when I have space for them to put them back into my rotation. So that's kind of what I'm going to share with you today. So you can see this chart shows you everything that I have all the projects that I have worked on. I have stitched over 300,000 stitches. You can see that in this graph. And that is pretty good. I have not stitched as many days as I have in the past, and this is kind of interesting to me. After 2022, you can see that my stitches, the number of days I have stitched has dropped pretty dramatically. And I don't know if it's because I stitched so much in 2020 that I've kind of got sick of it. I think there's a little bit of truth to that. Also, the app development has also cut into my stitching time a little bit. So I'm not stitching as much as I used to, and so I don't have as many finishes as I used to. You can see this is my finishes over the last few years, and you can also see that they have dropped. But that's mostly because I was crazy in 2020 and 2021 and started a huge number of large projects, and it's just going to take a while to finish those and get them out so that I can start something new. One thing is in 2023, I had 0 starts. There are no starts in 2023, which is interesting. Well, that's kind of the way it turned out. I have so many things going that just the very thought of starting something just doesn't even appeal to me. I have stuff I want to start, but I want to get to a point where I don't start it and then it languishes for months until I actually get to it, which is kind of what's happening with 5 of my projects right now. Okay? So let's get into it. First of all, let's get the worst out of the way. I talked about this, so you know about it. I was working on my chatelaine. This is Medieval Town Mandala. And yeah, as you know, I need to get my clothespins. So I was working on my chatelaine, and if you saw the video that I made a couple months ago, you know that I got to the point where I realized I'd made a big mistake. And my big mistake is that the center is 1 stitch off from the rest of the frame. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is I asked for your advice, And I think a lot of you know me well enough that you said you probably should start over. I had one person suggest continuing to work around the outside and gradually taking out the middle, which that kind of sounded good to me at first, but then the more I think about it, that just seems to be like it's prolonging the agony. Somebody quoted Jean Lee to me and said, Jean would say always forward, never backwards, figure out how to fudge it. But in my situation, I think always forwards may mean knowing when to give up. So I have pretty much decided that I am going to restart this at some point. It felt so good. I felt like such a relief when I decided I was going to put it away. That I think that was a sign to me also. So I'm either going to restart this, or somebody else suggested starting another chatelaine, and that actually appeals to me too. I have another one that I really, really want to start. I have almost everything. I have everything but the beads and the petite treasure braid. So I could start another chatelaine. So we'll do one of those. So this is Medieval Town Mandala by Chatelaine that you will probably never see again in that form. So that's my one disaster. Now I want to go through everything that I've worked on, and I'm going to start with the projects that I have worked on that have been put on hiatus until they can come back in, until I have room for them in my rotation. So, and this is in the order that I started them. The first is this. This is Autumn Sampler. This is a design by Sandy Orton of Cooler Design Studios. And of course, I really like this. I really like these designs. This is one of a series of 4. I've already stitched the winter sampler, and so that's kind of why I started this one, is because I figured if I'm going to stitch all 4, I need to start working on them. So I started this, and it is actually the next piece that will come into my rotation. So there is a good possibility that I'll start working on on this again in 2024. This is what it looks like right now. So I've finished kind of the bottom corner. This is kind of the Halloween section, and I'm getting over to this. I have back to school over here and Thanksgiving up here. So yeah. So I really like how this is turning out, and I'm looking forward to picking it up again. And we'll see how much more of it I can stitch. Hopefully this will come out again in 2024. Maybe towards the end of next year. So that's Autumn Sampler by Sandy Orton of Cooler Design Studios. Okay, the next project is Louise Lallier, 1901. This is a French sampler, a French reproduction sampler by Reflex des Soies. I really like this, and I've missed working on it. So I'm looking forward to pulling this out again too someday. I don't know when it will come out. It may come out this year. It may not. But I'll show you how much of it I have stitched. It's being stitched on 40 count Verdal even weave from Zweigart, and I'm stitching it with with DMC, not with the called for silks. I'm using the DMC conversion. But this is how much it looks like. I am almost finished with the top part of the border. And then I think things are going to move a little bit quicker because I'm going to have alphabet here and border until I get down to all the pictures that are down here, and then things will really slow down again. But so far, I really like this. This border, I really love the border, and it's been really fun to stitch these flowers. There are so many colors in there, but they look so pretty. It's worth the work to stitch them. So yeah, Louise Lallier by Reflets des Soies. The next project that is on hiatus is Die Freitag, 1849. This is a reproduction by From the Heart Needle Art, and this one I really love the roses down here. This is stitched on 30. Oh dear. It's been so long since I've worked on this. I have to look this up. It's being stitched on 36 count weeks cocoa with the Gloriana threads. That's what's called for. And I've really, this is my first time really stitching with Gloriana, and I really like the colors. I think it's really pretty. And right now, everything is kind of fading into the background. This is the called for fabric too. So I think once I stitch the flowers, that'll bring everything out a little bit better. But yeah, there's a lot of colors here that kind of fade into the background, so they're kind of hard to see. But this is Die Freitag, 1849. And then, let's see, two more. Memories of the Past. This is a reproduction by Hands Across the Sea sampler. I just loved this when I first saw it, and it is so pretty. Let's see. Here we go again. I know it's Prairie Grass. The fabric is 46 count Prairie Grass by Seraphim. And it is, I think this is not the called for fabric, but I just love the colors. I think this fabric color is just perfect for this design. And I'm stitching with the Soie 103 silk as well. And I've really enjoyed stitching this. This is one that I just can't wait to get back to. I've been kind of working through my rotation in the order that I started things, but I don't know. I might jump up for this one. Yeah, I love these flowers. I love these purples up here. And these colors are just really bright, and they look really great on this fabric. So I'm just hoping to be able to stitch more of this. So hopefully we'll see this and be able to. It's a sampler. It's mostly letters. So I think once I actually start working on it, it will actually go pretty quickly, even though it's a big sampler. And then my final project that is on hiatus is this is Oh Holy Night Nativity by Stony Creek. And I am stitching with 32 count Plain Air by Zweigart. It's a light blue color, and I think it's really looking nice. I have a long ways to go on this. This is another huge project, and I've only stitched on this for about a week, I guess 2 weeks. But this is what it looks like now. So basically I've stitched most of the first shepherd, and there's a second shepherd here, his legs here, and then a sheep. So the sheep is almost finished also. So this will be fun. I'll be glad to get to this. This is going to be Christmas. Most of the Christmas that I have stitched is Santa, and so this is an attempt to balance Christmas out with something a little bit more religious. So this is O Holy Night Nativity by Stony Creek. And that's everything that's on pause. Okay. And so hopefully we'll be able to see some of these projects come out next year. I'm hoping to be able to get enough finishes that I can pull these back into my rotation. Okay, so now let's talk about my finishes. Let's bring these out once more so that we can remember what I have finished. This first piece, I am so glad that I stitched this, and I love this piece so much. So, and that is, this is Queen Anne's Lace, which is a design by Lavender and Lace, Marilyn Levitt emblem. It's a big piece, and it took me a long time to stitch it, but she is finished. And this basically occupied a lot of my stitching the first 3 months of the year. Yeah, so I stitched on her a lot just to get to the point where it was where she was finished. So you can see this is stitched on dirty Belfast linen with the called for DMC, and there's also beads. There's shiny Krennic floss. I'm kind of moving it around to try to give you a little bit of a feel for the sparkle. The beads really add a nice texture to it. Most of the beads are around the neckline of her dress. There are also some beads down with the flowers. So this is Queen Anne's Lace, and she was a wonderful finish for me. I'm so glad she's finished, and she looks wonderful. And then towards the end of the year, I had my second finish, and that is Dragon Quaker by Sticky Day and von der Feenberg. Yeah, and this was another piece, kind of, you can kind of sense a theme here. This linen is also 32 count dirty Belfast linen. With the called for DMC, I just love the colors. This was a lot of work. Well, this went a lot faster than Queen Anne's Lace, but I'm really happy with how it turned out with the dragons. And all of the Quaker motifs. I just love stitching Quakers. So yeah. This I finished in October, I believe. So that's my second finish of the year. It felt good to have another finish under my belt. So those are my finishes, okay? So now the rest of this is kind of an update from what I showed you last time I made a video. So I've worked on all of these projects. These are my current whips in my rotation, and I've worked on all of these since you last saw them. So the first of these is Autumn Magic by Randal Spangler. This is a picture of a house in an autumn setting. This is a project that I started way back in 2016. Here we are 7 years later, probably almost 8 years later, because I think I started it in the beginning of 2016. And I'm about 20% finished. So, and of course, part of that is because I took a hiatus and I've decided to pick it back up again, and I am glad that I have picked it up. It has been fun, and I'm looking forward to stitching more of this. It's being stitched on 25 count Lugana, stitched one strand over one fabric thread. And I'll show you a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it. And I thought maybe that I would be able to finish a page the last time I worked on it, but that ended up not happening, but I'm really close. So this is what it looks like now. So you can see all I have left to do is this little corner of this page, and we're seeing like a lot more of the house. This is kind of a balcony that sticks out from the house, and you can see the windows, a shadow of a person that's in the windows, and this is the side of the bump out on the house. And so you can also see this green up here, that's the roof. So this is the eave of the roof that's going to come up and come back down with the green on the other side. So yeah, this is really looking like a lot better. I mean, it's really, this page has really taken shape and added a lot more structure to the house. So the next time I work on this, we'll finish this corner, and then we'll come down and work on this. And this will be fun too, because this is going to be kind of in the heart of the house. We'll turn the corner. You can see the corner of the house is right here. So this time we'll turn the corner and start with and see the stairs. I don't know that we'll see the man on the stairs yet, but we'll see more of the porch. And I'm looking forward to that. I want to see more of this house here. Yeah, every time I work on this and add more to it, I really, really like it. So I'm glad that I've started working on it again, and I'm looking forward to working on it some more. I don't know if I'll ever finish this piece. Let's see, 10, 11. This is my 12th page of, I think there's like 36 pages in the design. So I've got a long ways to go. I think I've got 2 pages this way to hit the corner, and more pages up. But, you know, I can't help looking forward. This next page, it looks like I will start to see sky up here. And that'll be really cool, because there is a lot of solid blue sky up at the top. And when I get to that point, those pages will go really quickly. So I've been languishing down here in all of the confetti, but there is a section that is not very confetti heavy at all. So yeah, this is Autumn Magic. It's a design by Randal Spangler, as converted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Okay. Another full coverage piece. These just kind of have bubbled up to the top. This is Sunshine and Shadows by Grass by Barbara and Cheryl. And I really enjoyed working on this. I really enjoy working on this one also. It's kind of a contrast between this and Autumn Magic. This one feels easier. It's stitched on 32 count linen. Well, actually it's Lugana. and it's not as confetti heavy. This wasn't computer generated, so it's very different. But I really like how it's turning out also. So I'll show you what it looked like the last time you saw it. As I said, it's being stitched on 32 count Ivory Lugana with the called for DMC. And I think the chart also has anchor, so I think you could stitch it with anchor too if you wanted to. And yeah, I'm really excited to share with you this because I feel like I've hit a milestone. So if you look up here, I finished the diagonal that I was working on, and starting this diagonal, I've hit the corner up here. So that's exciting. That feels like a milestone. So now I just have, I don't know, maybe about 10 diagonals of this length. And then the diagonals will start to shrink when I hit this corner down here. Try to hold it a little bit more still. I've finished the gate, at least the bottom of the gate, and now I'm over here. There's a planter over here that looks like exactly like this planter. So I'm seeing more of the planter, kind of more of the brick, and I'm getting really close. There's a you can see the tree branch that is coming across over to the gate. I'm getting really close to that tree branch, and I'm getting really close to this this section of flower bed right here too. So I'm getting close to kind of doing a transition towards stitching something a little bit different. Yeah, so I finished this siding up here, and now we're seeing more house, and we're going to start, and then when I get through the house, then we'll see more of the background, which is basically trees, green trees and stuff. But yeah, it's really starting to, every time I stitch on this, it feels like it's getting more and more dimensional. So yeah, this is exciting also. I feel like I'm making good progress with this piece. This is Sunshine and Shadows by Graphs by Barbara and Cheryl. It's my third design that I've stitched of theirs. I really like their designs. Okay. My third whip that I am working on is, Teresa Wentzler, English Cottage sampler. And I'm excited to show you my progress on this also. This is my Teresa Wentzler. I always try to have a Teresa Wentzler in my rotation, and I'm looking forward to finishing this. This is a piece that I believe this will be finished this next year. I still have a ways to go, but I think it's very possible that I'll be able to finish this piece this next year, partly because of where I am. And it kind of all depends on how much I like back stitching, I think. Anyway, I'll show you what it looked like the last time you saw it. It's being stitched on 32 count Flax Belfast Linen, which is a perfect color for this. And stitched with the DMC. And as you can see, I've been working up, as you can see from what it looks like when you last saw it, I've been working up through the letters. I think when you saw it, maybe you saw that I'd finished the letters. I'm not positive. But this is what it looks like now. So I have made lots of progress. The last time I worked on it, I finished this border here, and then I stitched, since then I have stitched, there's this oval this tan brown oval that goes all the way around the cottage. And I stitched the bottom half of this oval. And there's like kind of a lattice that supports it. That's all stitched. All of the leaves that come across here have been stitched. And of course the borders are stitched. This is the top of the page. So there's another set of pages up here, and then I'll be finished. So I'm getting to my last 2 pages. And last time I talked about this, I said I thought maybe I would do the border first and then come back and stitch the cottage. I'm tired of stitching leaves. So I'm going to stitch the cottage. We'll get to the leaves eventually. They'll get there. You know, it's not the leaves so much as you have the border, these lines that go all the way up. It just takes forever. There's 3 colors of green that come up through here. And then you have blue. I mean, you've got all these lines. Once I get to the point where I'm ready to stitch leaves, it's not so bad. But I have all these lines that I have to stitch. But yeah, so I've started working on the cottage. This right here is the cottage roof. So this is the cottage right here. You can see there's like a bush here. This dark green is going to be a tree, a pine tree that comes up here like this. There's like a low roof and there's a high roof of the cottage. This is kind of like an addition to the cottage that I'm working on. And you can kind of see the cottage. This is the roof here, and you've kind of got windows here. And then of course there's shrubs that go across the front of the cottage as well. So yes, this is I'm stitching at parking, and English Garden Sampler had that big garden scene that took me forever to stitch. I did the same thing. I parked in that section. It's not, this is a lot smaller, so this isn't going to take me as long to stitch, I don't think. And I don't think it's quite as confetti heavy either. You can see this hole right here. There's like specialty stitches that go through here. So we'll stitch those when I get to them. But yeah, it's kind of, it feels different. It feels like I'm making some progress in that I'm now working on something different than leaves in the border. So yeah, and I think it's very possible that I'll be able to stitch this I'll be able to finish this in 2024. I definitely will. I'm pretty sure I'll finish all of the cross stitch, and then it's probably going to take me 2 months to back stitch. Because there's all of this through here. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. And it'll be fun because you'll be able to see, it'll be fun to watch the border kind of come to life as you stitch all of it. And then there's beads all the way through here also. So of course I'll have to bead, but the beading won't take as long as the back stitching does. So yeah, this is English Cottage Sampler by Teresa Wentzler. Okay. Last whip. And this is, I finished Queen Anne's lace, so it came time to pull out another piece out of my projects. So this was on pause for like 5 months or so before I could actually bring it into my rotation. And now it's in my rotation. And this is Joy. It's a design by AuryTM. It's Quakers. And this is Christmas Quakers. You can see in the center, you have Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus in the word joy. So I started working on this again on Christmas Day, actually. And it felt really, really appropriate to be stitching this for Christmas. So I'll show you what it looked like the last time you saw it. And I'm stitching this on 28 count white Cashel linen with the DMC. And I don't know, have I shown you this since I started work? I think I was going to start working on this when I made my last video, but I've made a lot of progress. So I've kind of finished the center of the design. I spent a week stitching J-O, and now I've stitched the Y with Joseph. And it really feels good to have the entire word stitched. Just feels like it's more complete, and to have all of that stitched. And Joseph, I really like how Joseph and Mary turned out. So yeah, it's looking really good. So I've got, I actually stitched the Y last night. I've got 3 more days to work on this. And so we'll get, I'm planning on coming over here and working on, there's a couple of motifs that I need to stitch over here to fill in this side. And then there's just a line of Quakers that comes across the bottom. So this is actually really close to being finished, and this will probably be my next finish. And then the question is, this was a gift. This was given to me by my family, and there's actually 3 of them. There's another one with shepherds and another with wise men with, I can't remember which is which. One has peace and the other has faith, I think. So they're kind of a set. And I'm kind of tempted. I am tempted to treat the set as one whip, which means that when I finish Joy, I'm thinking that I'm going to start the next one and keep it in my rotation. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to do that just to get all 3 of them stitched. There's a part of me that wants to pull out another piece that's already paused too. So we'll have to decide what we're going to do. But anyway, that's like 2 or 3 months away. I've got work to do on this before I have to make that decision. But yeah, this is Joy by AuryTM. Okay. So that is everything that I have worked on. So talking about my plans for 2024, first of all, I kind of changed the way I stitched my rotation a little bit. I have been stitching like for a week. I've been changing every Saturday. I pull out a new project to work on for the week. And lately I've had some weeks where I've been really busy that I haven't been able to stitch, and that kind of causes, if I only stitch 2 or 3 days on a project, then that project kind of languishes a little bit. And I've kind of compensated by hitting the end of the week and saying, oh, I haven't worked on this enough, I'm going to work on it another week. So I've decided to change the way that I work a little bit. And I'm setting a goal that I have four projects that I'm working on, and I'm setting a goal every month to work on 4 projects and work 6 days on each project in that month. That is probably very doable. That's 24 days. that gives me 6 days in a month where I don't kind of have a little bit of slack. I think I can stitch on each project 6 days. And so instead of saying, for this week, I'm going to work on this project, I'm saying, I'm going to work on this project for 6 days. And when my 6 days are up, no matter when it is, if it's in the middle of the week, you know, whatever day, after I hit 6 days, I'm going to move on to my next project. And I think that will give everything a little bit of a little more attention. It'll also kind of help me on the other side of the things, because when I work on a project for 2 weeks, I get towards the end of the second week, and I'm tired of the project, and it's kind of hard to stitch it anymore. So I think that is a good compromise. So 6 weeks on each project, and then I'll change. So that's the first thing. And I've goals. So I have a goal to stitch on each project 6 weeks in the month. And I think that'll kind of help me work through stuff as well. For my plans for next year, I'm going to continue working on these 4 projects. It's very possible that, well, when I get a finish, the next project that would come into my rotation is Autumn Sampler. However, Memories of the Past may jump to the front of the line. But that's all I'm going to say as far as plans go. I'm sure that I will have 2 finishes next year, and I think it's possible that I will have 3. I think I'm going to aim for 3 finishes next year. I think that's doable. As I don't know that I will have any starts. Well, I guess if I decide to pull out another one of those AuryTM Christmas designs, I will have a start. But that's another decision that I'll make when I get to that point. So no, I don't feel like I'm going to be able to have any starts until I have 4 or 5 finishes. I think that'll clear out my queue a little bit, and then I can more judiciously start stuff without it becoming overwhelming. So those are my plans. And that's about all that I have to share with you. Once again, thank you for spending time with me. I really enjoy hearing from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you want to follow my daily progress, you can follow me on Instagram. I post my daily progress so you can follow what I'm working on. And as always, you can subscribe to this channel if you haven't, so that you can be notified of any changes. And feel free to ring the bell. That way you will get a notification when I post a video. As always, I hope that you have a great rest of the holidays, and that you have a good 2024. And we will, hopefully I'll be able to post a video in January. That's my plan. I keep telling myself that I'm going to be more frequent in my posting, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Anyway, I hope that until the next time that you have a great year and a great month, and we will talk to you later. Goodbye.